Welcome to the second half of the knockout stage for the CR2 tournament. Here are our current standings, sit back and enjoy. If you want to see any CR3 monsters make an appearance in the next tournament, comment them down below and I'll actually add them in. They gotta be official though, must be official. Our first battle is between the Willowwisp and the CultFanatic. Willowwisps were malicious creatures that appeared as torches or lanterns seen floating through swamps. These creatures could trap the souls of things they killed and reanimate their bodies as restless dead. These creatures displayed exceptional levels of intelligence, so it's going to be using all of its abilities to its most tactical sense. In essence, CultFanatics are just bad priests. It's a 4th level spellcaster, so it's going to attempt to cast Shield of Faith and inflict wounds on its enemy, using crowd control spells if deemed needed. Alright, first fight is now the Willowwisp versus the CultFanatic. The Willowwisp has a +9 to its initiative, and it's gonna roll a 14 either way. The CultFanatic has a +2 to this, and he's going to roll a natural 1 for a 3. The Willowwisp is going to use one of its actions to magically become invisible. It has a 50 feet of hover speed, so it's going to go right behind the CultFanatic here and get ready to shock him. The CultFanatic is going to increase its AC by 2, putting it to 15 with Shield of Faith and using his action to ready an attack for Sacred Flame if the Willowwisp pops out. The Willowwisp coming out of the invisibility, it is going to use its shock attack with advantage because it's coming out of invisibility. And it's going to roll a 15 exactly. It's going to deal 2d8 lightning damage to the CultFanatic. And it's going to roll 5 damage. The Willowwisp also has to make me a dexterity saving throw, or it's going to take radiant damage from the Sacred Flame. It has a +9 to this. And it's gonna roll a 12. The CultFanatic's save DC is 11, so it will succeed. That's the end of the Willowwisp's turn. It is now the CultFanatic's turn. He's gotta make me a Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration on Shield of Faith. And he's gonna roll a 6. The concentration goes away. The CultFanatic is going to use a 2nd level spell of Spiritual Weapon, and it's going to summon it right here with a bonus action. I'm just going to mark this with yellow. And the Fanatic is going to make me 2 dagger attacks towards the Willowwisp. First attack, it is a 6. Second attack is a 17. The Willowwisp's AC is 19, by the way. He will not hit. Willowwisp turn, it's going to turn back into invisibility, and it's going to move on the other side here. The Cultist, on his turn, he's going to cast Shield of Faith again, putting his level 1 spell slots down to 1. And yet again, hold Sacred Flame. Willowwisp, again, coming out of invisibility with a shock with advantage on to the Cultist. And it's going to roll a 23 to hit. It will. 2d8 lightning damage to the Cultist. Gonna be 9 this time. Cultist got to make me a Constitution saving throw or Shield of Faith goes away. He's going to succeed, so he keeps it. CultFanatic's turn. He's going to use a bonus action to direct the Spiritual Weapon to go over to here. Spiritual Weapon is going to try and hit him. It has a +3 to hit. I'm gonna roll a 6, no dice. CultFanatic now with a level 1 spell, his last one, is going to try and inflict wounds on to the Willowwisp. +3 again to hit. 17 will not. He keeps on missing. The Willowwisp is just too fast. Oh, as well, I forgot to execute the Sacred Flame that the Cultist was preparing. So I'm gonna do that right now. Dexterity saving throw for the Willowwisp. Can roll a natural 1, making it a 10. The Willowwisp can only fail this by rolling a 1, by the way. Sacred Flame damage is 1d8 radiant. The Willowwisp is going to take 1 point of radiant damage. Got the inflict wounds out of the way, got the Spiritual Weapon out of the way. That is it. Willowwisp's turn. Invisible again. Going over to the other side here. The CultFanatic preparing a Sacred Flame again. Actually, you know what? He's gonna prepare a inflict wounds on level 2. Willowwisp coming out again as soon as he makes the attack, which will be with advantage. It's gonna roll 13. It will not. The Shield of Faith will help. Now the CultFanatic is going to try and kill it with inflict wounds. With a 21 to hit, that does. This is 4d10 necrotic damage, but the Willowwisp is resistant to this, so it's going to take half. 17 points of damage, halved to 8. That is the end of the Willowwisp's turn. The CultFanatic will move his Spiritual Weapon over to here. And you know what? Fuck it, he'll use his last inflict wounds on to the Willowwisp. +3 to hit. 16, it will not. And with the bonus action with the Spiritual Weapon again, 13 will not as well. Willowwisp, invisible again, going to the other side. CultFanatic, preparing a attack with a Sacred Flame again. Willowwisp popping out, making a shock attack, which is going to be a 21 to hit. The CultFanatic is going to take 15 points of lightning damage. But it also has to make a dexterity saving throw, which is another natural 1. It fails again. D8 radiant damage. It's gonna be 3 more radiant damage to this. Constitution saving throw for the CultFanatic to see if his Shield of Faith is still up. It is still up. That is the end of the Willowwisp turn. CultFanatic moving up his spiritual weapon over to here again with a +3 to hit. 12 will not hit with the spiritual weapon. Cultist 2 melee attacks with his dagger. First attack is a 10. Second attack is a natural 1. Isn't looking too good for him. Willowwisp is not gonna get cocky. Again, invisible. CultFanatic can only prepare another Sacred Flame. He does not have any more spell slots remaining. Willowwisp now coming out of invisibility. It's gonna make 1 attack with advantage. The 21 as well. The only way the cultist gets out of here, if he rolls either 2 1s or a 2 and a 1 on his dice, which he's not. The cultist is going to go down, and the Willowwisp will be moving on to the next round. The second battle is going to be between the polar bear and the ogre. We all know what a polar bear is, so I'll just say what it's going to do in combat. Run at the enemy and maul them with 2 of its attacks. Ogres are a race of giantkin. Ogres were a lazy, brutish, avaricious race with notoriously quick tempers. Their nature would often lead them to distrust one another and incite squabbling over treasure. It's going to try to charge at the enemy with its great club. Alright, we got the polar bear versus the ogre. Polar bear has a +0 to its initiative, and it's going to roll a 7. Ogre has a -1 to its initiative, and it's going to roll an 18. All right, ogre's up first. The ogre has a 5 to its intelligence, so it's just gonna see big hair and go to smash. Big bear, swinging with its great club. Gonna be rolling a 25 to hit. This is 2d8 plus 4 bludgeoning damage to the bear. It's gonna be 10 points of damage. Polar bear, it has its multi-attack, a bite and a claw, each of them having +7 to hit. Its bite, gonna be a 13, that will hit. Claws are going to be a 24. That hits as well. The bite is going to be 1d8 plus 5 piercing damage, which will be 8. The claws are going to be 2d6 plus 5 slashing damage. And it's going to be 15 points of slashing damage. Ogre's still in the lead a little bit on HP, but I think the polar bear is catching up. Ogre with its great club +6 to hit. It'll be a 17. It will hit the bear for 12 more points of bludgeoning damage. Polar bear still with its multi-attack. It's going to be a bite attack with a +7. It will hit, and a claws for a 10, and claws will not. 1d8 plus 5 damage is going to be 11 more points of damage to the ogre. Ogre, again, using his great club. This will be a 16. That will hit. 2d8 plus 4 damage is going to be 11. Polar bear kind of on the ropes right now. 2 more attacks to the ogre. Natural 20 on its bite, though. And a 19 on its claws. This is going to be 2d8 plus 5 piercing damage. 18 points of piercing damage and 2d6 plus 5 slashing damage. 11 slashing damage. The polar bear will clutch up and kill the ogre. And I don't get to use this cool little animated token anymore. The third battle is between the animated Ballista and the Onkeg. The animated Ballista is just a ballista that has been magically conjured to move, so it's just gonna maintain distance and shoot at its enemy with its magical bolt. Onkegs were insectoid creatures that burrow underground and hunt from below. They had strong chitin armor and were able to burrow underground. It is going to try and burrow underneath and ambush its enemy, spraying it with its acid spray. The animated Ballista has a +0 to its initiative, and it's going to roll a 15. The Onkeg has a +0 to its initiative as well. It's going to roll a 13. Animated Ballista is going to hang back. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, the Animated Ballista has a 3 to its intelligence, so it's just going to be Balloon's Tower defensing and just shooting and standing still. +6 to hit with the magic bolt for the Animated Ballista. It's going to be a 13 to hit. That will just miss the Onkeg. Onkeg going down into the ground 10 feet. And it has a burrow speed of 10 feet, so it's going to use its action to get 10 feet closer towards the Animated Ballista. Animated Ballista is going to keep preparing its attacks until the Onkeg gets out of the ground. Onkeg, action, movement to get to here. He's now 5 feet underground. Onkeg now on his other turn. The Animated Ballista still prepared his action. He's going to use 5 feet to get out of the ground. And it's going to use its acid spray to spit acid in a 30-foot line towards the Animated Ballista. Ballista has to make me a dexterity saving throw. It has a +0 to this, which is a 13. I think it succeeds. It just succeeds, taking half of 3d6, which is 13 points of damage, half the 6. The Animated Ballista will get its attack off as a +6 to hit. It does have disadvantage because the Onkeg is within melee range of it. Oh, it would have been a natural 20. But instead, it's going to make it a 12 and going to make it a miss. That is the end of the Onkeg's turn, though. Now for the Animated Ballista's turn. Non-ready action. He's just going to, on his turn, shoot with the magic bolt. Disadvantage still +6. 17, 11 with disadvantage. Animated armor, that's the end. That's all I can do. Rolling a d6 to see if its acid spray comes back. It will. Spitting out another acid spray at the animated ballista. Ballista's got to make me a dexterity saving throw. It's going to roll an 8. It's going to take the full brunt of 3d6 acid damage, which is 7. Oh, wow. That's the end of the Theoneg's turn. Animated ballista. One more attack. Magic bolt. Disadvantage. 21, but it's gonna be an 8 with disadvantage. No dice. Theoneg's turn, seeing if its acid spray recharges. Gonna roll a d6. It will recharge again. D20 for the animated ballista. Dexterity save. It's gonna be a 2, taking the full brunt of 3d6, which is 10. Slowly but surely weighing it down. Animated ballista, disadvantage, attack. Gonna be a 9. Oh, no, it's a 9. Can't do anything. Theoneg, another d6. Gonna roll a 2. It will not get its acid spray back. It's going to try to bite the animated ballista with a +5 to hit. Control a 21 that will hit the animated ballista. It is 2d6 plus 3 slashing damage to this, which will be 11 plus 1d6 acid damage, which is 4. This is 15 total damage. And the Theoneg is going to grapple the animated ballista. Animated ballista, now grappled. It can't move. It didn't even want to move, so it's just going to make a disadvantaged attack. Just a 12. That's the end of its turn. Theoneg, d6 to see if its acid spray comes back. It will not. And another bite with a +5 to hit. 15, that will just hit. It's going to be 2d6 plus 3 slashing damage, which is 9 plus 1d6 acid damage, which is 1, putting the animated ballista on 2 HP. Animated ballista, not much options. Another disadvantaged attack with +6 with a magic bolt. Oh, it would have been a natural 20, but instead it's an 18. It's going to be 3d10 fire damage, which is 21. Holy shit, this is big damage. But that's all I can do. It's just going to hope the Theoneg misses its next bite attack. Theoneg +5 to hit. A 23, and it now has more dice. And the animated ballista has HP, so it will take the round and it will kill the animated ballista. Theoneg moves on to the next round. The fourth and final battle will be between the Null Pack Lord and Intellect Devourer. Nulls were a humanoid race that most closely resembled human hyena hybrids within Faerun. They were carnivorous humanoids known for their savage culture and warlike ways. Null Pack Lords are just the strongest of the bunch, and this one is going to try to maintain distance and hit its enemy with its glaive. Intellect Devourers were psionic aberrations that took form of walking brains. They were servants of the Mind Flayers and were one of the most dreaded threats of the Underdark, with their power to consume intelligence and possessed host bodies. It's gonna try to decrease the intelligence of its enemy, then try to snatch their mind and possess their body. I'll consider this an Intellect Devourer win if it manages to successfully steal an enemy's body. The Null Pack Lord has a +2 to its dexterity, which he's gonna roll a 10. Intellect Devourer also has a +2 to its dexterity. It's gonna roll a 4. Null Pack Lord is going to try and shoot it with its longbow. 2 attacks, and it's gonna try and maintain some distance away from the Intellect Devourer. It has enough range. 2 attacks with its longbow. It has a +4 to hit with this. First attack is gonna be a 7, no dice. Second attack is a 16, it will hit. This is 1d8 plus 2 damage. And it's gonna be max damage, 10 on the Intellect Devourer. The Intellect Devourer has 40 feet of movement, so it's going to go all the way with its action to get to the Null Pack Lord in an attempt to devour its intellect. Null Pack Lord whipping out his glaive with a +5 to hit 2 attacks to the Intellect Devourer. First attack is an 11. Second attack is a 24. Only one of these will hit. This is 1d10 plus 3 slashing damage. 9 points of slashing damage. The Intellect Devourer is doing terrible. The Intellect Devourer's 1 saving grace. It is going to try and devour the intellect of the Null Pack Lord. What this means is, Null Pack Lord must make me an intelligence saving throw. It has a -1 to this. Null Pack Lord is going to fail. The Pack Lord is going to be taking 2d10 psychic damage, which is 18 psychic damage, and I'm gonna have to roll a 3d6. If this 3d6 exceeds the number of the Null Pack Lord's intelligence, it is stunned, because its intelligence score is going to be reduced to 0. Result of the 3d6 is gonna be 13. The Null Pack Lord is stunned. It is stunned now until the Null Pack Lord regains 1 intelligence point, which it can't happen right now. Null Pack Lord's turn. It's stunned. It can't do anything. Now they have to make an intelligence contest on the Intellect Devourer's next turn because it's going to try to body thief the Null Pack Lord. Null Pack Lord is going to make an intelligence check. It has a -5 to this because his intelligence is 0. It's going to be a 1. The Intellect Devourer has a +1 to this. And it's going to roll a 9. The Intellect Devourer will body thief the Null Pack Lord's body and fully be at him. The Intellect Devourer's brain gets devoured, and the Intellect Devourer will take the rounds. Thank you for watching the end of the knockout stage. In the next video, we will be finishing the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finding our champion for the CR2 tournament. And to whoever is still watching, have yourselves a good one.